What is next for Micheal Chandler? He recently came off a loss against Paddy Pimblett in TKO fashion, and unfortunately, he can't even do his call out against Conor McGregor. But we need to discuss what's the issue. First of all, he's coming off a 3-fight losing streak against Paddy Pimblett, Charles Oliveira, and Dustin Poirier, and his fight with Dustin was in 2022, and his recent fights were against Charles and Pimblett, and he lost them both. Other than waiting for Conor McGregor to come back, which they are very much hinting, I'm assuming, because of his last tweet saying, I don't know, 300 days, something yada yada, and what, Conor want to be a president or something. But yeah, if he doesn't fight Conor, then I have some other ideas that he can probably do before he fights. So a fight that Micheal Chandler could probably take, which wouldn't make his legacy worse or better, would have to be against Nate Diaz. I'm not saying Nate Diaz is a bad fighter, but the dude's unranked, calling out Max Holloway, and he says, what, Micheal Chandler's too small to make 170? Hey, let's just book them to fight. Let's see how that goes. It's a money fight for both of them. They're both big names. Micheal Chandler's not doing too well legacy-wise. The dude's like washed. No offense, he used to be great in Bellator, but you have to see the dude is almost like 40. So yeah, I would have to say Nate Diaz as one of the best fights for him right now. Other than that, I would have to say Terrence McKinney would be a great matchup for Micheal Chandler. I heard they had a little beef on the internet. I saw an Instagram post. I think that would be a very interesting match. I meant Micheal Chandler said he's one of those top dogs who, if you're in the game, fight me and you're that level. But let's see if Terrence could, prove himself and by fighting Micheal Chandler, even though I think personally that Micheal Chandler would harass him. But nonetheless, Micheal Chandler is if you beat a washed Micheal Chandler, what could you really say, But other than that, I would say Terrence McKinney would be a great matchup, if anything, for his legacy. And, why not help a little young blood get in the game? He's 8 years younger than Michael, so, hey, that's a good fight. And I think, what is it? McKinney is really good at first round KOs, just like Chandler. First round Chandler versus first round McKinney. I think that would be a great fight. Let's book that if he doesn't get any of the money fights. Anyways, nonetheless, I'd probably say Moicano is probably the best fighter for legacy-wise, or, to fight Micheal Chandler. I believe they both came off a loss, and I think it would just feel right. Loser has to retire. I think that'd be funny. But yeah, I think these two would be a great matchup. I'm not sure who'd win. It's just it could go both ways in my opinion. But yeah, I think this fight should be booked in. If Micheal Chandler doesn't fight Conor McGregor or Nate Diaz or Terrence McNee or something. I forgot his name, sorry. So yeah, this is probably the best thing that Micheal Chandler could do for the meanwhile for his last fight, because he is not fighting 41, 42, guaranteed not. I think his last fight is going to be against Conor McGregor at the White House, or he fights one of these guys like Nate Diaz, or these two other guys like Moicano or Terrence. Those are two good matchups that they would be really fun and entertaining. And he can leave off with hey guys, I'm one of the most entertaining fighters on the planet. Win, lose, or draw, that's just Micheal Chandler. That's why he just brings that game, Either die by the sword or you kill by the sword. And I'm pretty sure we're all gonna tune in for his last fight, if he does retire, which is likely.